Okay, so before I begin to show my center activities and how they would be implemented, I first want to talk about my pre K guideline that I chose. So for the subject, I went with math. It's always been one of my most favorite subjects when I was in school. I've always excelled at it, and I thought it would be fun to uh, choose that as the focus of my center activities. And so the specific guideline that I chose reads that a child should be able to identify a quantity of up to six objects without counting. And that is basically subitizing. Subitizing, for example, is when you're playing a board game, right? And you roll your dice and you look at it and you automatically know what number it is just by looking at it. So let's say that you roll your dice, you got five, and you're not sitting there like one, two, three, four, five. No, you just take one look at it, maybe for like 2, 3 seconds, and then you move your five spaces. That is what subitizing is. And subitizing is so important because it builds on number sense. Number sense is essentially being able to understand numerical relationships among numbers. And a lot of the times, students, when it comes to math, they really don't like it for many reasons. And a lot of it has to do because they find it difficult or they just don't understand what they're being taught. And to help combat this, what we can do is really rein in on that number sense at an early age. And we can do this by focusing on subitizing because we want our students to feel and see themselves as capable mathematicians who are going to be able to be presented with any math problem and try their best and not feel intimidated or scared by mistakes or not knowing. No, we just want to help students develop a positive relationship with math from pre-K all the way to high school and beyond. Okay, and so for my first activity, here we have memory matching. Here's my little instruction card that students can look at to remember what they're meant to be doing. And here I have my Ziploc bag that it's labeled, and I have all of my card sets inside. And so first they would begin with the number card set. They would just remove the rubber band and just start putting it in front of themselves. And ideally, I would really want this to be done on the floor. Mostly because if it's done at a table or on their desk, there's always the risk of them falling over, and it's just, it can cause a lot of ruckus, so it's just better to avoid it by them doing it on the floor. And so here we have a picture set of popsicle sticks. All of the picture sets go all the way to 10. Here we have some sort of dice. And then for this one, we have one red ball here, and then we would have two, and then three, and all the way up until we have all the red balls and all the white balls shifted to the left side, and then nothing here. And then we have the hands showing the numbers. We have dominoes, and we have this one where we see one green dot on the top, and then there would be two, and then three, and then four, until all of the empty spaces have a green dot on them. So let's say that students want to work with this one. So they would remove the rubber band and they would just start putting them all face down on the floor in front of them. And so after they're able to have them all good and ready to go, they're going to take turns. First, one student is going to pick up one of the picture cards. They're going to look at it. They're going to know that it's 8. And so now they're just going to have to try and find the matching number that it goes with. Let's try this one. Ooh, we got it. So then, since it matches, it would keep it, and then it would be their partner's turn. But let's say, for example, that they looked at this and they thought that it was 7. Either they will catch their mistake by double checking, or their partner will notice that it's not correct. And so what they will do is try to still find the matching number that would be 8. And if they don't find 8, they would put this card back down. And next time that they pick it up to try to look for 8 again, they will look at it, and this time they're going to know that this one is indeed 8 and not 7. And so they would just start packing up all of their picture sets after they've been able to find the pairs and work with another picture set. And so what I like about this for the memory aspect is that how I was describing just now, that if they're to look at a card and then not figure out right away what quantity it represents, they can always try again, that repetitive task of looking and trying to figure it out, and then if they mess up, to try again. It really helps give them a lot of practice with subitizing in this center activity. And so when it comes time to pick up, they don't even have to worry about the numbers or the pictures being in order. As long as they're in their corresponding set, then they're golden. They don't need to be wasting their time trying to put them in order. They can if they want to, but it's not necessary for this. And so they would just grab all of their card sets and start putting them back into the Ziploc bag. And so for our second center activity, we have a home for a bear. And so here's another instruction card that students can refer to if they needed. It would just be on the wall next to where the center would be. And so for this one, they would need one of these sheets of paper, and they would just put it right in front of themselves. And they would need their bear counters. They would just set it off to the side so that it's within grasp whenever they need it. Move that there. And then Ziploc bag that has the dot cards inside. So they would just open it, remove the rubber band, put this in front of themselves or next to on the side, and they would be facing down. And so they would start by going anywhere in the deck and picking out a card. So this one has 4. They would put it down to either the top house or the bottom house, and then they would go ahead and find 4 bear counters, and they would try to duplicate the pattern that is being shown. So we have 2 dots at the top, 2 at the bottom. I have 2 bears at the top, 2 at the bottom. And so let's do this one more time. This time we have 3. So they would put this down for the remaining house, grab 3 bear counters, and they're all in one straight horizontal line. So that's how I would be putting my bears. And so now that they have this completed, they're going to be able to make comparisons. So a student could say, I have more bears in my top house than I do in my bottom house. And so this can also be done with a partner. Once they have their own card ready to go and their partner also has one ready to go, they can make comparisons together. So maybe this student can say, we have the same amount of bears in our top house, but I have more bears or less bears than you in your bottom house. And yes, this is how this activity would go. Because with subitizing, not only is it important for students to be able to look at dot cards and figure out the quantity that is being represented, but they should also be able to know which one has more automatically. So when they look at dot cards like this, they should know that this one is going to have more than this one. This activity helps them build on that because they're making those explicit comparisons themselves and or with a partner. And so even with this set of dot cards, the reason why it's pretty thick is because I wanted variety with how the dots are being shown. And what I mean by this is that we have our sort of basic layout like this and like this and like this and this. But there's going to be students who are going to pick who are going to pick this up right away. And there's no point in limiting them to this kind of set when they already got it down. So for that, we can give them variety and show them dot cards like this. And I think for that, whoa. And like this too. It helps challenge them. Because again, we don't want students to get bored. We want to really have them be engaged in what they're doing. And if we need to amp up the level of difficulty with our centers, then that's what we need to do. So that's why there's a lot of variety with the dot card sets that I have for this center activity. And yes, that's what they would be doing. And again, they're going to have to gather their cards, attach their rubber band, put it in the Ziploc bag. And honestly, I don't think you could ever go wrong with a plain old rubber band and then putting it all together in a Ziploc. It keeps it all in a very nice storage unit. And then with these, you could always just put them in a manila folder or just place them on the table like so. And then for my last center activity, I have what is called Hang It On. And here, this can be used as a reminder if students need it, to kind of just as a refresher to remember what they need to do for this activity. And so here are a couple of those foam sheets that I made. I got pom-poms, googly eyes, balloons, and jewels. And so we would need this, and here they are, the clothespins. So we would open this up. We would get out 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so students are going to have to look at this and just automatically put it in the right number. And so they're going to do that with each foam sheet. You're just going to look at it and they're going to put it where they think it goes. And so after they do that, they're going to lay it out in front of them just like I have it here. And they're going to go. Purple has 9 googly eyes. Dark green has 6 googly eyes. Bright green has 8 jewels. And blue has 2 balloons. And so to double check their work, they can always count them out individually just to make sure that they have got it down. And so after that, they will remove the clothespins and they would collect these foam sheets, put them to the side, and then collect more. So here I have a bit more with the same materials, just different quantities that are being shown. And with these, it's important to remember again that you're always going to have students who are going to pick up on somatizing really fast. And with that, you can create these kinds of patterns with the jewels, make them a bit more difficult for them. So that's why I decided to do here, just to show one example of how that can be done. And yes, that's what I decided to do for my center activities for somatizing. I honestly think that kids are going to like these centers for different reasons. For example, for memory matching, that can become competitive. That's always fun. And for a home for a bear, they're able to have conversations with their partner. And not only, of course, does that build somatizing, it just helps build their communication skills, which is a bonus. And then with Hang It On, there's, the physical aspect that I think they would find very entertaining. And yes, those are my center activities. Thank you so much for watching.